All right, so now you have two presentations to choose from in the parallel if you want. The first one is Down the Right Track, helping Kaizen take root at the Swiss railways. And the other one is Unlocking Industrial Knowledge through Generative AI. And this is a case from FPZ in Italy. And here on the main stage, I'd like to welcome my friend Sandrine Olivencia from France. Good morning, Sandrine. Bonjour.
Good morning.
I'm
Bonjour.
going to introduce Sandrine here for you guys. Hi. Sandrine is a lean author and she has a background in the digital world. And she's just written a great book about kind of how to bring the lean lessons to that world and to help us build products that are irresistible to customers. And in this session, she's going to be talking about how to scale without losing the ability to innovate. Sandrine, the floor is yours, and I'll see you in half an hour. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you, guys. So, what's the difference between these two loaves of bread, according to you? Well, one was produced, the one on the left, was produced on an industrial line, very efficient, standardized, and fast. And the other, on the right-hand side, was handcrafted by a skilled baker, kneaded with care, baked to golden perfection. Which one would you reach for? Not because of its price, but because of how it smells and looks and how much it makes you salivate. Well, the choice is not just about bread as a source of food. It's about the emotional connection and the sensory satisfaction that true artisanship delivers. Everyone dreams of creating a beautiful product, right? Handcrafted goods are often treasured because they're often of better quality and perceived as more valuable. They're deeply personal. Some people are even willing to spend thousands of dollars on tailored suits just because they're buying, an expression of artistry, not just clothing. In the manufacturing world, Toyota has always stood out by embedding the artisan spirit into their very DNA from the beginning. Starting with their weaving machines and their early factories, they cultivated a quality-driven culture that laid the foundation for decades of innovation. And this ethos scaled as the company grew, and infusing the artisan spirit into every stage in the value flow. You'll see workers on a Toyota production line who are trained to self-check, and they uphold their own quality standards, right? They actively contribute their creative ideas to enhance the product. And in some way, this transforms them into artisans, craft people of their own craft. You'll see end-of-line inspectors manually look for defects on any part of the vehicle, relying on a tactile sense of quality. This is artisanship reimagined for the modern industry. Toyota also introduced the chief engineer, a role designed to bridge technical, marketing, operational, and even business teams. The chief engineer ensures that every team contributes to a unified vision. They perpetuate artisanship throughout the organization, and they drive innovation. So now we're at a new crossroads, the digital era. And the tech world, the digital world, the tech world thrives on speed and adaptability. But let's face it, the focus is not on quality, not anymore. As a matter of fact, the most common methodology to build software is even called agile. It relies on iterating rapidly and leaving room to adapt to external change as the software grows. This agile mindset has even become the backbone of digital innovation and investment, driving how products are conceived, built, and marketed for the past 25 years. Startups and even established companies alike in this world now live by the mantra, fail fast and pivot faster. And this is all driven by Silicon Valley culture. Yet, here's the paradox. This constant obsession with speed in the digital world often leads to bloated systems, mounting technical debt, and in the end, a loss of agility. And as a result, digital products move quickly to the market, but they lack the polish and the emotional resonance, and also the quality needed for long-term success. So the question is, can the digital world learn to embrace speed while nurturing artisanship? And also, can they find a common ground with the physical world of manufacturing? Well, Steve Jobs answers this question with his own words in a recording from 1995. And I would like to play this for a minute.
One of the things that really hurt Apple was after I left, John Sculley got a very serious disease. And that disease, I've seen other people get it too. It's the disease of thinking that a really great idea is 90% of the work. And that if you just tell all these other people, here's this great idea, then of course they can go off and make it happen. And the problem with that is that there's just a tremendous amount of craftsmanship in between a great idea and a great product. And as you evolve that great idea, it changes and grows. It never comes out like it starts because you learn a lot more as you get into the subtleties of it. And you also find there's tremendous trade-offs that you have to make. I mean, there are just certain things you can't make electrons do. There are certain things you can't make plastic do or glass do. And as you get into, or factories do, or robots do. And as you get into all these things, designing a product is keeping 5,000 things in your brain, these concepts, and fitting them all together in kind of continuing to push to fit them together in new and different ways to get what you want. And every day you discover something new that is a new problem or a new opportunity to fit these things together a little differently. And it's that process that is the magic.
So, okay, let's be fair a little bit. Software teams have not completely abandoned craftsmanship. In fact, practices like extreme programming, also called XP, were created in around 2000, 2001 to embody these principles. And in 2008, the software craftsmanship movement even formally emerged. I personally vividly remember practicing extreme programming coming from the digital world. I practiced this approach on a biotech project in San Francisco in my early days, and also later on in Paris with my teams. I remember practicing pair programming when you have two developers working together, and it felt like solving puzzles together. I remember refactoring the code, and that brought satisfaction because with every change we made, we had to refactor the code to make sure that it was maintainable. And then also test-driven development practice, which ensured high quality from the start. Test-driven development means writing the test before writing the code. And all these techniques, to me, felt like real acts of craftsmanship. Today, unfortunately, such practices are being pushed into the background in favor of delivery frameworks like Scrum or SAFe. And these frameworks scale relatively well because, they prioritize processes and rituals and roles, but, they don't prioritize the artisanship that ensures quality at the core of the product. So there are many valuable lessons that we can learn from Toyota's approach to artisanship and quality. And digital teams, whether in tech startups or in big, large industries, can integrate three key practices that I can think of and that I think can be immediately integrated into your own existing work to cultivate an artisan spirit. And the first lesson is what I call emotion-centric design. So imagine it's hot, sunny day, and you're completely parched. So you grab a soda because it promises you refreshment and it evokes that emotion of cooling relief. But what happens if it's too sweet and if it's lukewarm and it's not as refreshing and invigorating as you had hoped? This experience will probably leave you disappointed and probably even frustrated. Next time, you'll probably skip this soda, no matter how compelling its marketing. And this proves one thing, that generating emotions is not just the realm of marketing. Emotion-centric design means crafting every customer touchpoint whether it's researching for the product, buying the product, using it, or even seeking support, to evoke and connect with the user's deep emotions. Every aspect of the product has its part to play in delivering a consistent and emotional user experience. As a matter of fact, an emotion is an engineering challenge, a bit like Steve Jobs was explaining. Creating an emotion means mastering the product's technologies to replicate a sensation consistently. So for the can of soda, for instance, it's that psh sound when opened that triggers a chill of anticipation. You see, a chill, it's a physical sensation. An emotion is physical. And what engineering or technical innovations do I need to implement to maintain that perfect level of carbonation, temperature, and flavor consistency so that I can deliver that chill with every sip all the way to the last one? And this is where the artisan spirit is crucial, because an artisan or a craft person knows how to communicate emotions through their own creations. So you might tell me, everyone has different memories and lives. How can I cater to all these different emotions with a single product? Actually, we can look for the dominant emotion within a single segment. For instance, a warm blanket might evoke the comforting emotion of being enveloped in a mother's embrace. You see, that's physical. So, not every product needs to evoke emotion, right? Or does it? I strongly think that ignoring the emotional aspect from the start can mean missing vital opportunities. I have an example. Vago. Vago is an online temporary insurance company. And when a few years back, when I asked the CEO and the team about the dominant emotion they wanted their product to evoke, they basically laughed at me and they said, "This is insurance. Insurance is just a commodity. People are not interested in emotions. They're only interested in low prices." But after we went diving into their customers' world, we analyzed support tickets, we conducted interviews, we found plenty of emotions. For instance, I remember one in particular. There was a proud father preparing to send his son off to college, and he bought weekend car insurance for him so that he could borrow the car for a special weekend with his girlfriend before leaving home for a few years. This gesture was not just practical. It was a symbolic act of trust and good parenthood, marking a meaningful rite of passage into adulthood. So we found many like that. And all these new insights led the Vago team to create new services, improve their products, and they created new tools specifically for parents who became a significant client base. Emotion matters, even in the most unlikely places. So here's the second lesson from Toyota that I think we can learn. And this is what I call the performance-based product approach. Now let's meet Andrew Davis. He's the CPO, the Chief Product Officer of AutoRabbit, a company that specializes in Salesforce release management tools. Their flagship product, called ARM, A-R-M, has fallen into what I call the common trap of feature frenzy. Andrew and his team actually receive a constant flood of features and change requests from clients and various stakeholders. Actually, more than can ever be added to the product. So they end up with like a bloated and an ever-growing backlog. Prioritizing these requests and these tickets alone takes a massive toll on them. And in the end, nobody's completely ever satisfied with the new releases. This is such a common path in software. I see it all the time. And it's, to me, one of the weak points of Agile, or at least Agile of today. So for their new product that they call Flow Center, Surya, the chief product engineer, tried a different approach. Boss, the first thing that she did with her team was to go straight to the Gemba, the real place where the product would be used. She listened to sales calls, she collected client stories. Together, they analyzed lots of customer complaints and support tickets. And they managed to gain a deep understanding of the customer problems, but above all, of their customers' key preferences. So building on this Gemba research, the team identified what we call the client's most stable preferences. Those are those non-negotiable quality characteristics that define true customer satisfaction. The radar chart that you see is a client radar chart for flowchart, and it shows the stable customer preferences. The solid line reflects the client's evaluation of the product, and the dotted line show the competitors' ratings. So this visual comparison highlights very clearly the strengths and weaknesses of the product and provides the team with a clear direction for future improvements. So we see, for instance, that Flow Center is very strong on 2 key preferences. But Surya and the team decided to improve the ease of use preference for the next iteration. And they only chose one impactful change to keep the team focused, the whole team focused, and avoid spreading their efforts too thin. They gave them, this actually gave them a chance to improve the customer satisfaction drastically on one axis without taking too many bets at once. And so they could learn faster. So then, instead of jumping into creating a backlog, okay, let's do this feature and that feature, Surya reframed the usual question from what features do we add next to what product behaviors will most likely satisfy that user preference. And that changes everything. Okay. To answer this question, the team identified a set of product critical performances, which guided them, throughout the decision, the design decision process, and ensured that every feature that was added to the backlog down the line had a clear purpose. Sorry. So the product critical performances are measurable design constraints that reflect the customer's stable preferences. So for instance, the users wanted a easy to use and understand a user interface. So after brainstorming and experimenting with various options and even creating prototypes, the whole team settled on a drag and drop system for building deployment pipelines effortlessly. And I insist on this word, effortlessly. They defined effortlessly as fewer than 5 manual actions. And that goal was derived from observing users and customers' habits in their own environments. This gave the team a clear goal to reduce user manual actions from 20 to actually less than 5. This performance-based approach steered the team away from the trap of feature frenzy because they stopped bickering over which feature to do, and they started to really collaborate on how to hit that performance together, that performance target. So as a result, they were pretty successful in building a product that resonated with users, and also all the members, POs, product owners, product managers, tech, and even marketing people all said that they felt more empowered and creative in that process. Building performance-based products instead of managing endless feature backlogs is a big change of mindset in the digital world, and we have to understand that. But every time I've seen a team do this, it paid off immediately because prioritization becomes easy, and the developers, not just the developers, the whole team members are more inspired to resolve difficult challenges together. And of course, the big winner is the customer because they get, what truly matters to them. To me, this approach is one of the simplest and most immediate ways I know to cultivate an artisan and innovative mindset in a digital product team. So I just shared 2 key practices, according to me, that can help digital people instill an artisan mindset in their teams. And then we still want to scale this mindset over the whole organization. And so far, we have not been very successful. At Toyota, the chief engineer role is a catalyst for perpetuating artisanship across different departments. So let me introduce you to Caroline Payou. She's the founder and CEO of Ignition Program, a French leader in recruitment and training. So she built her company by creating innovating offerings that she refined with her teams over the years, and that led to great success. But the recent economic downturn really hit them hard. Budgets are tightening and demand is decreasing, especially in the recruitment world. And in a highly competitive market like this one, the pressure to deliver impeccable services And to find new opportunities is really becoming urgent for them. So in her search for a better strategy, Caroline turned to lean. So she began by focusing on improving the quality and lead times in delivering her services just to keep afloat. And this resulted in boosting customer satisfaction and even conversion rates within just 7 months. Actually, these improvements are nothing short of spectacular, and it did buy them time. But then the next critical step is to reevaluate their offer. Ignition program digitized part of their customer experience to facilitate the candidate recruiter matching process. But their mission has always been to go beyond just being a recruitment agency. You know, they want to provide personalized guidance to both job seekers and recruiters. Right? They wanted to focus heavily on their selling efforts to craft tailored journeys. So they spend less time designing and refining their services as a cohesive, scalable product, right? And now in the market that is taking this downturn, they've realized that they've lost touch with their customers' evolving needs. And this making it hard to scale their sales-driven approach. A better strategy, especially for a growing company with a diverse customer base, is to balance sales-led and product-led approaches. And this is particularly true in highly competitive markets because this balance ensures a focus on both immediate revenue or cash, very important in smaller companies, and long-term customer success for resilience. Caroline is now shaping a product-based strategy for Ignition program. And the first thing that she's doing is putting together a team of chief product engineers among team members, including two who've been there since the beginning, Lucas and Violet. Like at Toyota, these new chief product engineers take on the critical role of balancing customer value, technology, and also finance to craft their products. Actually, a chief product engineer is not tied to a specific role, like in the agile world, you know, a product owner, product manager, or tech lead. It's more of a responsibility and a mindset. Chief product engineers can emerge from any part of the organization. They can be a PO, they can be a PM, a tech lead, as long as they're driven by this visceral passion for customers. They should also have a strong, or at least be willing to develop a good understanding of the product and its technologies, of course. And something that is not common in the digital world, they should also be committed to optimizing costs to enhance the value and the profitability of their product. So, you know, they must demonstrate strong leadership skills in order to bridge all these diverse functions. We're not looking for a superhero, right? But someone who's passionate about customer satisfaction first and foremost, and who's willing to learn the rest. The chief product engineer is a practice, and the abilities of the chief product engineer can be taught and should be nurtured, which is why identifying and mentoring potential chief product engineers in the organization from the beginning is so important. So now Caroline works closely with each of her chief product engineers. She practices all the tools, you know, that I've presented, the two tools that I presented earlier and more. Her mentorship approach is really hands-on and personal. She directly passes on her vision, the market insight, and her passion for the product. She really embeds these into the team's daily work. I want to show you a quick video of Caroline and Violet, a rising chief product engineer at Ignition program, having a discussion in their Obeya. So it's in French, but it's subtitled. I just wanted to show you the dynamic as they're discussing their customer radar and the preferences, and also discussing a competing product to identify the next area for improvement.
Pas mal avancé. Ce qui est intéressant, c'est qu'on ait vraiment vu un petit peu étudier ce qui est le plus important finalement, tu vois, pour les managers qu'on forme. Il y a un sujet sur lequel je trouve qu'on n'est pas assez bon aujourd'hui, j'aimerais bien qu'on progresse, c'est le fait qu'entre une section de formation management, il faut un peu seul faire vraiment d'idées. Tu vois, il n'y a pas d'interface. Et donc là, je vous ai noté un 3 sur 5, donc j'aimerais vraiment que les prochains moments d'innovation soient un peu dédiés à avancer sur ce sujet. D'accord. C'est bon, en plus, ça semble accessible. Oui, ça semble carrément accessible. Et du coup, pour compléter un peu ça, on a fait une étude de la concurrence. Donc, on a vu 4-5 concurrents. Et alors, c'est intéressant, là, je t'ai mis quelques enfants. Et eux, tu vois, ils font une intercession. il faut maintenant qu'il y ait du coaching individuel. Et donc la question que je me pose, c'est est-ce que c'est obligatoire? Est-ce que quand les gens achètent chez eux, ils achètent le package formation plus coaching ou est-ce qu'ils peuvent dissocier les deux? Et eux, ils prennent que 6 personnes par module alors que nous, on est à 20. D'accord. Je me dis, ça me questionne aussi, tu vois, est-ce qu'ils prennent plus cher quand ils prennent plus de personnes? T'as essayé d'interviewer quelqu'un qui était passé par là pour lui demander si le coaching était absolument nécessaire? Non, quelqu'un m'a juste envoyé une presse pour l'instant. On a fait un deep dive de la presse, mais j'ai pas encore interviewé, mais ça peut être la prochaine étape. Okay. Pour voir s'il faut qu'on rajoute du coaching individuel, éventuellement du coaching collectif. Mais voilà, c'est un peu ça.
So the collaboration you just witnessed between Caroline and Violet in their Obeya room is not just about resolving the current challenge, right? It's really about building a mentoring system to ensure that that spirit of innovation and craftsmanship lives on. The lean tools that they're practicing together are the framework that they use to build their chief product engineer organization and practice and culture. So the goal of this mentorship system is for experienced leaders to pass on their knowledge, their vision, and their artisanship to the next generation. And the cornerstone of the system is the chief product role, the chief product engineer role. As a matter of fact, if we take a step back and look at the wider digital landscape, we see that the most successful companies like Apple, Airbnb, or even Slack are product-led. A product-led organization drives growth through exceptional products designed to sell themselves. And in these companies, you will see that the founder often stays involved in the product vision in one way or another. And they do mentor the next generation of leaders. So now the question is, how can we prepare for the future? How can each of us do, or what can each of us do to adapt and thrive in this evolving landscape where digital and industry are converging? Well, here's my take on it. If you are in digital, like I am, think about how you can create products that truly connect with your customers' emotions, deep emotions, and also that can scale easily. Let's not fear quality. Let's embrace it as the key to going faster and building better, because quality is not a roadblock. It is the accelerator. And if your industry, maybe you can consider experimenting with digital's modularity and iterative thinking in product design, like some are currently doing. These approaches align with the faster, more adaptive ways of the digital world, which operates under different physics and rules, right? So I believe that together we have the power to shape a future where digital and industry don't just coexist, they elevate each other. The future is ours to craft. Thank you very much. I don't know how much time we have, but if there are any questions, maybe we can take some. Hey, Fabrice.
Hey, it was an amazing talk.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I don't know how much time we have left and if we have any questions. Yeah.
So there's no questions in the Q&A panel, so please feel free to add your questions at the bottom.
And if you have one, Fabrice, feel free. How much time do we have left? Because I don't see the
We've got 2 minutes. Two minutes. Yeah, I mean, since there's no question, I mean, I'm gonna ask you a personal question, but and a bit more cultural. How do people feel when you use the word craft and in teams? Like, what kind of different reactions have you observed?
Actually, I'm going to give you one anecdote as a response. And the anecdote is the last Monday during my build to sell roundtable, a CTO from New York City who works for a tech company told me, my bosses and leaders forbid us to use the word craftsmanship, not just because it's not politically correct anymore, but because they're scared it's going to slow our progress.
Super interesting. There's one last question. Yeah. Please, can you show us your book? So do you have the book? Can you show it?
Yes, I do. I do have it somewhere.
And in the meantime, I can make a quick summary. I think it's the best reference book for lean product engineering applied to software.
Oh, thank you so much, Fabrice.
Thank you, guys.
It's right here, the book.
We have
Woo!
8
At the
seconds. There
end.
it is. There it is. There it is.
Thank you,
Great
guys.
timing. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Next